Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Nighttime Show. We're recording live at Genghis Cohen. I am comedian Mike Glazer. With me is producer and the biggest brain in the world, Matt Walker. Our guest today, you know from Whose Line Is It Anyway? Whose Line... I'm not an improviser.
Good improv.
That's not improv. That's just reading.
Yes, you're right. No. Okay, let's just read. You know him from Whose Line Is It Anyway? The Drew Carey Show, an upcoming Christmas movie called I'll Be Next Door for Christmas, and of course the show Let's Make a Deal. Our guest today is Jonathan Mangum. And now our host, the host of this show and Let's Make a Meal, Stephen Kramer Glickman.
Very nice. I love it.
Nice.
Hey!
Reading.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm only the biggest brain in the room because Jonathan does not have Jonathan Bighead going on.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. You watched the show.
I do watch the show.
There we go. We actually got to come and watch a taping of Let's Make a Deal, and holy God.
It's different live, isn't it?
Oh my
It's
God.
great.
It's so much fun to watch
Yeah.
live. That is it's always been a show that is a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of the there's certain game shows you watch and you're like you don't scream and yell when you go see Jeopardy. Jeopardy's a lot of fun. It's a cool
I've been to see Jeopardy, but you don't
but
yell
you're
and
not
scream.
yelling
Yeah.
and screaming.
No.
Maybe Wheel of Fortune. There's a little bit of yelling sometimes. There's some yelling into
Buy a vowel!
Yeah, buy a vowel. They yell things out, but not like Let's Make a Deal.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
a lot
the
of
craziest of the audiences, and it's so people that you haven't seen it live. It's so loud.
Yes.
fun. God,
I was shocked at how loud it was in there.
Yeah.
and everyone's in these amazing costumes.
Yep.
People are jumping all over the place, trying to get noticed, and that's one of the big things is that is that how they pick who's going to get on camera is by kind of the way that people are in the audience, if they're excited. And
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that definitely goes into it. I mean, and that's why it started originally on Monty Hall's Let's Make a Deal. At first, no one dressed up, and then a couple people thought, hey, I'm going to try to get his attention. And then people saw, oh, he's picking the people with the signs. And then it just went on from there. Yeah.
Oh, my
Yeah.
God. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's...
And also on that
Yeah,
show,
please.
in real life, it's so much smaller physically than I thought it would be. Like the stage where people stand when they're doing when they're having their deal. It's like 12 feet across. On TV, it looks like it's like 40 feet wide. It looks huge.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
It's just so much smaller and
Because
just so much fun.
HD, there's more pixels now.
Oh, is that it's a
That's
pixel
why
thing?
Yeah, it's all pixels.
Oh, it
now.
is a pixel thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 4K now.
That's right.
It should be said we're all wearing costumes right now.
Yeah.
You are.
For those of you who are...
I'm a deviled egg.
Oh, wow.
And apparently it's your birthday, Stephen.
Yes, it is. I'm dressed up as a birthday cake. Let's start at the beginning of your career. Let's go way back. Where are you from? Where were you born?
I was born in Charleston, South Carolina, but that doesn't really count because I grew up in Mobile, Alabama, which is slightly worse. Grew up there, second grade through high school, and then off to college, and ended up in Orlando, and that's when I started doing the comedy.
What about your parents? Who's funny? Is there a funny person in your family?
No, not really at all. My mom's great, but she's not funny. My dad, he was a news director at the local news channel.
Okay.
And he did like plays in the evening. That was his hobby. But he's not funny at all.
Isn't it kind of? I don't know if this is if you feel the same way about this, but having one person work in some aspect of television, or in some aspect of the industry when you're young, like finding someone in your family that has found their way into that is kind of like a doorway where you're like, oh, if they could do it in some way, shape, or form, then maybe it's less. More tangible.
It's what makes it less intimidating. Like, okay, that's what a camera operator does. That's where he stands. This is a tape. Okay, I can kind of see some of the props of this world. So then when you're not going into something completely not knowing what's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. What was your first experience with comedy? Like when you were young, is there someone that made you laugh a lot, like that you enjoyed?
Like I have 3 heroes, comedy heroes,
Okay.
which I've got to meet 2 of them, which is cool. I still haven't
wow.
met the third. But Steve Martin.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is who I love and I've met, and then Bob Newhart, who I love and I've met. And then I've never met Letterman, but he's the third in my trifecta of great, awesome.
It's a good trifecta.
Yeah.
I feel like it's entirely possible to meet him too. It's not out of the realm of
Have you seen him?
Yeah. All right, that's true.
He's kind of a hermit that
You might have met him and just not noticed. You thought it was a homeless guy.
I gave him $1.
Santa Monica, yeah.
He said, "Thanks for the dollar." Like that, right? That was it?
Yeah, except an impression of him.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the Bob Newhart sketch? I know that I'm jumping way off subject. Did you ever see the Bob Newhart sketch on Mad TV where he was the therapist? It is one of the only funny things that ever happened on Mad TV.
Oh my gosh!
No. I mean, an unbelievably funny sketch where Bob Newhart is a therapist, and he's $5 is how much it costs to go to him as a therapist. And so then this woman comes in. It's a very funny comedian sits down across from him, and she's like, "Well, I'm having all these problems. I can't leave the house. I'm constantly nervous. I'm afraid of everything when I go outside. I'm scared of the world. I don't know what to do." And he goes, "All right, well, I'm going to tell you these 2 words, and I want you to take them to heart, and I want you to remember them. Can you do that?" And she goes, "Yes, absolutely." And should I write them down? He goes, No, just remember them. Just remember them. Okay, here we go. Stop it! Just stop it! And he just yells at her everything that she says, he just yells at her. I love him so much.
You know what? The reason I love him is because in the history of sitcoms, the straight man is never funnier, with the exception of Bob Newhart. He was funnier in all his sitcoms.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I mean, even Seinfeld couldn't outdo Kramer. He couldn't outdo Newhart as the straight man won, which is
that's unheard of.
Unheard of. Yeah, no, you're totally right about that. What about like other heroes that are not comedic heroes, like in the business, like who?
Sully. Probably Sully.
Sully Sullenberg?
The airplane guy? Yeah.
Sure.
I'm my favorite actor, I think, is I was up so early I can't remember names, and I'm also older, so the combination leaves me. Gene Hackman is one of my favorite.
Oh my God! Of course,
actors. Yeah. I mean, he's
fantastic.
Yeah, legendary.
Absolutely. And you've done that. You've jumped back and forth between drama and comedy a lot throughout your career. I know you did episodes of ER, and you've done episodes of Bones and all sorts of other
NCIS.
shows. NCIS. Yeah, it was NCIS. Yeah. What do you like more? Do you like doing comedy more? Do you like doing drama more?
I like comedy more. I like live improv. There's nothing better. I've got to do some great things, and I'm so happy I did with drama and comedy too. But man, just being your own writer, director, and actor on stage, and you can't beat it.
Now, you went to Orlando after college, or did you go to school there?
So I went to Orlando for college.
Okay.
While I was there, I started doing comedy at a theater called SAC Theater.
Did you meet Wayne Brady back then? Because I know he's from Orlando.
That's where I met Wayne. We were both about 19 years old, I think, and we started in this troupe. Because it was Orlando, which is kind of separated from the rest of the world. You had Chicago with the Second City and New York. And so we had our own little improv scene there. And we did 13 shows a week for 200 kids. And not touristy. These were college kids and high school kids that would come and, 3 shows on Friday, 3 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. We teach Monday through Wednesday. We did that for 3.
Are you doing short form, or are you doing like scenes?
No. All short form improv. Yeah.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
Wow.
Who else was in this troupe? Do you remember?
Myself, Wayne Brady, a guy named Joel McCrary.
Oh yeah.
Matt Young, Dan O'Sullivan, and Claire Sarah, who just co-wrote the Smallfoot movie, which just came out.
Oh yeah, I saw the Smallfoot movie. Yeah. I like that movie. Now your first credit on the IMDb,
the International Movie Database.
International Movie Database.
Oh,
I mean, you can call it whatever you want.
Big
it
brain.
Is international.
It is international. Yes. It's the Internet House of Pancakes. It is.
I believe it is the Internet House of Pancakes. Internet House of Burgers, I believe. They changed it. They pissed off everyone and then changed it back. Clarissa Explains It All. Is that your first
acting credit? Melissa Joan Hart, who I would not know 20 years later would help my son who was choking at a restaurant.
What?
Help save my son's life who was choking. Yeah. This happened, so my son Austin, who is 12 now, he's probably 4 or 5. And my wife was with him at a restaurant, and he started choking on something, and my wife was like, oh, she just kind of freaked out, and Melissa Joan Hart was like, no, just grab him here. Just kind of help my wife for a second.
Was she just sitting at another
At
table?
another table. And then the whatever shot out of Austin's mouth, and then
What?
it was like, wow.
And she only did it because you were in that show together. Otherwise, she would have let him die otherwise.
You're right.
What restaurant
She goes,
was this?
now we're even.
Now we're even. She dove through a plate glass window.
I think it was changed names a couple times. I can't remember. Heirloom Bakery over in the Valley. Used to be.
Oh my God, how bizarre is
Yeah,
that?
totally weird.
Lifesaver,
Wow.
Melissa Joan Hart. Shout out
Yeah.
to her. She
Shout
should
out
be your
to
hero.
Melissa Joan Hart.
Yeah, she should be your hero. She saved your kid's life.
But before, that's too far in the future for me to have known that she
Right.
should be a hero.
okay.
God, what a man. That's a bizarre. I love that.
Has anyone made the joke yet about Clarissa saving it all?
No, you're the first.
Okay, great. First, cool. All right, I'm out of here.
I love that. Now, one of your early credits was working on Roseanne.
Yes.
They have you listed as doing one episode. Did you do more than one episode?
Just did
or
one. Just one.
episode?
And it was in the period where Roseanne got rich, and then the show was not good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, during that
Yeah.
period, of course.
But it was cool. I played three. There were three snobby rich guys, and one of them was Dana Gould, who is
Oh,
a huge
my
fan.
God.
I mean,
Amazing.
I love him. So it was cool to work with him.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I actually have a question. What was it like to transition from doing just live performing in front of people every day and then being like, okay, I guess I have to hit marks now? And
Oh, it was
do all
tough.
that? Yeah.
So I came out here in '95, and I got a pilot right away, which was really rare, but I was very happy to do it with who married Don Johnson?
Melanie Griffith.
Thank you, Brain. Melanie Griffith. She was the lead, and I didn't know what to do. Like, I didn't hold for laughs. I was missing my marks. Everyone was like, "Hey man, you need to start standing on this thing. You got to wait for the laughs. You got to." And it was, but I was so good at that part that I got it. But I was so green. The show didn't go forward. But
What was the show called?
It was called Me and Henry. She's a single mom that's trying to do it all.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Did they then like ship you off to acting class, like your agent and stuff, or?
No, just and so I went from series regular right away to then I went down to co-stars and guest stars, and that's where I learned, this is how it works and this is how you do that, but it took a little while. Yeah.
Yeah. My first really big job was being a series regular, and I didn't realize, because I had been a stage actor for so long, I didn't realize that you weren't supposed to yell all of your lines. When I had an exclamation point, I would yell like I was on stage.
Yeah.
And they'd go, no, we're marking. And I'd go, what does that mean? They go, we're like, just take it, we're rehearsing. And I go, I want to rehearse full out. And they were like, yeah, but we're going to do this scene like 45 times, man. Like, you're going to burn out by the time we get to like the fifth time. And I was like, I'll be fine. And I ended up with like tonsillitis and strep throat. I got sick so many times the first season because I had no idea what I was
What
doing.
show was that?
It was called Big Time Rush. It was a
of course.
Nickelodeon show.
Yeah.
And I just blew my voice in half. But
man.
that doing live stuff like Mike Glazer Mike's from Chicago.
Yeah, Second
and
City.
was part of the improv scene out there, right?
Mhm. Yeah, I did Second City for 6 years, worked with them. And I just flew back for a charity event that we did.
What
to
was the
raise a bunch
event
of money. Letters to Santa. I'll plug it real quick, even though it is your show. I'm so sorry.
It's something I would see.
It's Letters to Santa. It's a charity for Chicago families where we improvised and did interviews for 24 hours and raised, I don't even want to say how much, but a lot of money for Chicago families over the holidays.
Can you improvise an amount?
Yeah.
A lot, huh?
$11 million.
Do you still perform live in like doing improv
All the time. So around the year 2000 is when Wayne got on Whose Line. And then
Right,
from
yeah.
there, he goes, I'm going to start touring. And he grabbed me. And so we've been doing a two-person Whose Line for about 18 years now.
What?
Just
That's so
we've been
amazing.
to Australia and Canada and London and Germany, and we do about 30, 40 dates a year.
And
It's
don't
so
you
much fun.
host like a traveling version of Let's Make a Deal sometimes? I've
No,
seen
I
that.
don't. There is a traveling version, but I have not hosted that. I'm not
Okay.
sure if I think that was a test.
Okay,
We'll see if
that might be
they-
what I saw.
What's a traveling? What are you
They'll
talking
do
about?
it in like Vegas, and like people go and they do it like just in a theater.
What?
Yeah, so there's a
They'll do
huge
like Casino Morongo
there's a huge
and- yeah.
Price is Right version going on that tours right now. But I did do some
That's so cool.
improv game shows at the Morongo, but it was not related to
another thing. But they probably advertised Jonathan Mangum from Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yeah, of course.
Or from
Right.
Let's Make a Deal. Yeah.
That sounds like so much fun, though.
What's it like when you are on stage with Wayne? Like, how many steps ahead are both of you of each other? Because it feels like I've seen magic before.
Yeah.
And it's got to fly like that.
Well, as an improviser, it's like what makes a group good is not any individual, but how long they've been working together and how that machine can work. And I wouldn't say we're steps ahead, but we're just ready to the speed is much faster.
Yeah.
So he has an offer, and I'm right.
You know
there
exactly where he's going. Kind of. Or you have some sort of like
It's less about knowing where he's going and more about whatever I say, he is going to be so committed to it'll blow your mind. And same thing when he says something, I'm so committed to it. So it's that just complete trust of like, there is nothing I can do wrong.
Yeah.
We're just going to be on a very fast ping pong game.
So cool.
It's really fun. It's my favorite thing. Yeah.
Is there anybody else that you feel like you have that kind of connection with or similar connection with?
So our improv group from Orlando, we all moved out here in around 95, 96, and we were called the House Full of Honkies.
Yeah.
Which
Hilarious.
was funny while Wayne was in it, and then when Wayne left, it was just kind of weird.
Then there's some issues there.
Yeah.
There might be some issues.
But all those guys I feel that closely with. But Wayne the most.
Wow,
Yeah.
That's so cool. Yeah, he's great. Oh, him and I have met a few times, but one of the greatest meetings we've ever had. And Matt, I think there's like a term for this that we coined. What was it? Well, it was Craig Gass. He pulled a Craig Gass.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, where I was with my girlfriend. We were going into.
When you say with your girlfriend,
me and my girlfriend, my
you weren't with her.
No, not sexually.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, we are.
I just want to make sure because Wayne, you never know.
We are together sexually, but not at that moment.
Yeah, you weren't with her in the
and
biblical.
Wayne Brady. The three of us were together. It was a very
asking.
sexual experience. No, my girlfriend and I were pulling up to Dantana's.
Pulling up, not pulling out.
Pulling out, for God's sakes.
Who's Dan? What was Dan? Was there?
Dan Tana's house.
Dan Tana was there. Dan Tana, a great guy,
Yes.
Italian guy. We went to this Italian restaurant called Dan Tana's, right? And we're pulling up to the front of it, and as we're getting out of the car, Wayne Brady's coming out, and him and I had met when I had worked on the Shrek musical in New York, so we knew each other a little from that. And as we're walking in and he's coming out, he goes, "Hey man," gives me like a big hug. And then he goes, who's this lucky lady? I go, "Oh, this is my girlfriend, Rachel." And he goes, "Well, you better be a pretty special girl if you're with a guy like this. I'll tell you, this guy right here was one of the best guys in town. One of the best guys I think I've met in this business. Just a incredible man. I love you, and I always think about you, buddy." Gave me a big hug. "What's your phone number? Let's exchange info." We exchanged info, and then he goes, "Bye, see you later." Gets in his car, and my girlfriend goes, "How the fuck do you know Wayne Brady?" And I was like, "Oh, we had met one time before that."
Yeah.
But he just made it. He made me look like the fucking greatest guy in the world to a girl, and her and I were only together at that point for maybe a few months.
Right.
So it just. I mean, it was a nice move.
He has
man.
a huge
Fooled her.
respect for talent. So if you have talent, then he will remember you and your name and stuff like that.
He's a good fella.
Yeah.
He's a good dude. Okay, we let's talk other shows.
Yeah.
Because you've done a lot of episodes, one episode of a bunch of different shows. So I want to throw a couple at you, and then you tell us
Let's
what
do
it
it.
was like. Okay, here we go. Clueless. You were on the Clueless television
Oh
show.
yeah,
Yes.
I used to watch that show.
Yeah. And you know who directed it was Julie Brown. Not downtown Julie Brown,
But Julie Brown from Earth Girls Are Easy.
The Girls
Yeah.
Are Easy.
Oh, yeah.
And I was a regular in her show called Strip Mall, which aired in
course.
Comedy Central in the early 2000s.
I remember that show.
And so I think from that, I think she brought me in or something for that. It was a small part, but it was fun.
That's so cool.
I was just thinking about her song, like her famous song. Can you imagine that now? Do you remember what her famous song was?
What
Her
No.
top 10 comedy hit? "Everybody Run, the Homecoming Queen's Got
Oh
a
yeah.
Gun."
Oh yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah, you could never do that now.
It's completely impossible. But back then,
Yeah, back
funny,
then it was like a funny thing.
because
yeah.
people weren't all killing each other
'Cause
all
it
the
didn't.
damn time.
You know, Earth Girls Are Easy. She wrote Earth Girls Are Easy for herself to star in. And then as they were getting ready to make the movie, the studio was like, "Oh, by the way, you're not playing this part. This is Gina Davis. We have Gina Davis." And she went, oh, well, that script I gave you is not the final draft, and I have to give you a better draft. And then she wrote herself into it and wrote a song for herself in the movie.
Good.
And that's
Good for her.
that's why she has the career that she has. She's
does.
amazing.
She is great.
Married with Children.
Yeah, so I played young Al Bundy.
What?
Yeah.
So
No way!
He and his buddy, but young Al Bundy, not contextually. He and his, what was his buddy's name?
Griff.
Griff.
Yeah.
So he and Griff were at the shop, and then there was a younger sales guy, me, and another an African American kid that were like the young version of them.
Yeah.
And we took over the store, and then we quit because we didn't want to end up like those
them.
two guys.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was the whole
great.
bit. That was really fun.
I remember that episode.
Do you really?
Yeah.
It was a Christmas episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
a good
Just
show.
shoot me. Just shoot me.
So that was a spoof of Officer and a Gentleman. If you remember in Officer and Gentleman when he's like, I got no place to go at the end.
Yeah.
So my character was kind of the Richard Gere character. And I got hired to do this thing, and I told everyone, they're like, have you seen the movie? Yeah. So you get it? Yeah. I've never seen the movie. I still haven't seen the movie.
Oh, my God.
So I just watched their impression of what I was supposed to
do.
do.
Sure.
But one great thing was in the scene, we're all lined up like military guys, and David Spade's walking up and down. He's going, boy, I need to see your pants tied up, boy. You need to get that coffee ready, boy. And that was the bit of that scene. 10 years later, I'm walking through the back lot at CBS Radford, and I see David Spade walking towards me. And I'm just like, oh, I remember I did a show. I wonder if he's going to remember me. And I don't want to say hi because he's with people. And as he's walking past me, he turns and goes, boy, you need to pick them shoes up, boy. He started going into the bit.
Oh, my God.
I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Wow.
That's
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that. When you're on a show like that, when you get cast on a sitcom type show, do they say to you, hey, just do a little improv. Do a little improv about this. Will they ask you to
Almost never.
Almost
The
never.
one time that I got to do that, and it was the best time, is there was a pilot called Everyday Life. It was the kid from Honey. No, what's the
Everyday Life? Got it. You played Zach on it, and it was Mary Gallagher.
Mary
was the
Gallagher,
star.
but Josh
Radnor.
Josh Radnor from
Oh yeah,
How I Met Your Mother.
Yes, How I Met Your Mother.
of course, and Rob Reiner.
Rob Reiner directed it, and he
crap.
said, hey, just do it. Go ahead and just go. Just do whatever you want. So I just improvised, and a lot of it made it in there. And from that, because I did so well in that, even though the show didn't go, he directed The Bucket List, and he goes, hey, you want to come audition for this scene with Jack Nicholson? And I was like, yes.
Yeah.
And so because he knew me and trusted me, that's how I got that part.
Oh
That's
my
awesome.
God, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Rob Reiner's incredible.
He was great. And you know what's like if you don't work in this business, you might not know, but it's very stressful. And directors, they have so much going on, and they're in charge of this ship, and it's being pulled in all directions. And Rob Reiner was just so laid back and relaxed and in control, and he never appeared to be stressed out. And you got the feeling that when 5 o'clock came, he did his time card and went home to his family, and had
Wow.
it just was like, oh, you can be normal and not a crazy person and be a big director
And make great movies, too.
and make great movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah.
I love him. And you did Strip Mall. Of
Yeah,
course,
that was
which we
the
talked
Julie
about.
Brown, yeah.
Yeah, that's a cool one. What about Reno 911?
Yeah.
Was that an improv show or mostly scripted?
It was scripted. See, I'm trying to think because I'm not sure what my scene was kind of scripted, kind of not. But I didn't even audition for that. It was I think Julie Ashton was the casting director. It was the beginning of the year, and they brought in all the funny people they know. Just everyone come in and just do something here. Read this scene or two. And I went in. I just completely took my shirt completely off. And they all started clapping. They're like, "Yeah, man, good job." And I did the scene, and I didn't get the part. And it was a year and 3 months later when they go, "Hey, you're going to come in. You're going to play a yokel that thinks aliens are coming down." Cool. I'm like, from my audition from a year and a half ago, that wasn't even this. Yeah, that's cool. I'll do it.
Wow.
So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Who was in your scene? Do you remember who else was in
yes. I'm spacing on the name.
it? Was it one of the cops?
Yeah. Who's the?
There's Cedric Yarborough.
Not Cedric.
Ben.
Thomas Lennon.
Thomas Lennon.
No, she's on a big sitcom now, The Goldbergs.
Wendy McLevin Covey.
Wendy, yes. So
Yeah.
it was with Wendy, and then I'm trying to remember who else was in that scene.
Yeah.
God, they're so funny.
Wait, so is it one of those where you just came out the front of your house with a cigarette dangling from your lips? And,
Basically, so
You know.
the whole
saw up in the skies.
the whole bit was they were going to walk up. They walked up to me because I was just this crazy guy at a trailer outside in some god awful place up in the hills of California, and they come up to me and go, "Hey, we just want you to know that those lights that were here and the noises last night, that was nothing." Okay. Like they just drive out to fuck with me completely. My parents like, lights? What are you talking about? What lights? So it's
amazing.
It was
fun.
fun.
I love that. That's so great. Okay, now we would be there's a couple more I got to talk about.
Just skip over the pornographic stuff because I really am not.
There's so much porn. Oh my god! You were in a show called Come On Over with.
He said skip the porn.
What are we doing?
I'm so sorry. You played Dr. Jonathan Silliness with Dana Snyder, our dear friend who was just on our show.
Oh, no way!
Yeah, he was on our show 2 weeks ago.
A week ago.
That was a locally produced comedy show in Minneapolis, St. Paul. I think it was just for there.
Wow.
Yeah. You can put anything on IMDb.
Oh man, you really can.
It truly is international.
Yeah, it is.
Including Minneapolis.
It is, yeah.
What about going? I don't want to say. I almost just said going down to the Nickelodeon level. No,
You can say that.
it's such a shit thing for me to say, but it's true. Being a Nickelodeon person, like you go when you have to step into a different reality because you were on Pushing Daisies. Also, you did an episode of Pushing Daisies,
Fuller.
a terrific, wonderful show.
That was murdered by the writer's strike. That is what killed that show.
Yep.
And the director, does it on there? Because he's famous. I can't remember his name.
Woody Allen?
No. Oh, man.
There's Lawrence Trilling, Adam Kane, Peter O'Fallon, Barry Sonnenfeld.
Sonnenfeld. So Sonnenfeld.
Oh, that was an episode with you.
Yeah.
Wow.
He was so friendly and nice. And imagine him being friendly and nice and going to me. He goes, "Hey, you. Hey, your name from now on is Fuckface." And I go, "Yes, sir." And he goes, "Hey, Fuckface, why don't you get on your mark and we'll practice?" And he just, with a smile, called me Fuckface for the whole shoot.
My God.
And it was charming and funny and weird.
Yeah.
And I was
Men
like,
in Black.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that guy's he's a legend.
Oh, yeah.
That's
crazy.
amazing. I love that. But then you step into the Nickelodeon world and you do the iCarly I Go to Japan TV movie.
Yes.
Which was a big deal
It
for
was
that
huge.
network. Those things are, those shows they had some impact.
I have no problem with Disney Nickelodeon. I mean, some people are like, "Well, I'm not going to read for that." I'm like, "Why? It's just go. It's acting, man. Come
Yeah.
on. I don't care."
Totally.
You have to be bigger. Obviously, your auditions have to be gigantic.
Yeah, they have to be huge, and then they have to scale you back.
Yeah.
In certain ways, but yeah, totally. They're weird. They can be good and weird. I've had like a couple auditions for Nickelodeon and Disney where on the drive to the audition, I'm like, oh my god, I want to fucking get this so bad. I just want it. I want it so bad. I just auditioned for a show that was so cool. It was half improv, half live action.
Oh, that's very cool.
And for Disney Channel, and I wanted it so bad. And then 2 months ago, I had an audition for a Disney show, and on the drive to the audition, Jonathan, I said to myself in my car, "God damn it, Steven, is this why we went to acting school? Turn around! Turn around! You fucking moron! Turn around!" And then I went in and auditioned like hatefully for the audition because I didn't want to do it at all. And then I got a call back, and I hated myself at the callback too. Like I screamed at myself in the mirror, like, "What are you fucking doing with your life? This is what you want? This is what you..." But it's like, that's we fight with ourselves sometimes.
We do.
Yeah, because we got emotional problems. Sarah Silverman problem.
We, huh? We? A little
Sarah
deflection
Silverman.
there?
Yeah.
So my buddy,
I'm bringing all of us in. We have emotional problems.
My buddy Rob Schraub, who is one of the creators of Channel 101, he and Dan Harmon created that way back, and we used to hang out and do improv and stuff together. And we just have stayed in touch, and he ended up directing a bunch of Sarah Silvermans, and he just goes, "I've got to get you on it someday." And I was like, yeah. And then that someday came, and he goes, "Hey, you want to come play this part? Didn't you have to read for it? Isn't that the best when people just give you parts?
That's the best.
It needs to happen all the time."
Yeah. Now, how did you end up on Drew Carey Show? How did that happen? Was that a straight up offer, or did you have to audition?
No, that was a straight audition. I went in, read, got a call back and got in, and then once I got in, became friends with Drew. He started bringing me on the road.
Did you
with
know
him.
like Ryan Stiles at that point? Was this pre Whose Line Is It Anyway?
I had met. Yeah, no, this is after Whose Line. I had met Ryan. I had met Drew, but only very briefly and just in passing. So.
Because when you were on Whose Line, who else was on Whose Line with you?
So I've been doing Whose Line on the CW now for 6 or 7 years now.
Oh, wow.
So I was never on the ABC Whose Line.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah. Got it. Okay, that makes sense.
So on Drew Carey, you were on that show for 2 seasons?
2 seasons,
And like you played Drew's boss, like when sort of they did their Amazon.com sort of bought the store, and you were like one of the guys running the web company.
Yeah. Me and another guy, Kyle Howard, who's been on a bunch of stuff. But the great thing about that set is it was done like an internet store. And so in the center was a table, and our prop master, Skip, put all these computers all on there, and he linked them all up, and they all had Call of Duty on them. So we would all just during breaks of camera rehearsal, we'd sit there and play Call of Duty for hours. And if it's just me playing Call of Duty, they'd be like, hey, Mangum, come on, we're going to stop fucking around. We're going to go do this thing. But if it's Drew, which always happened, you can't tell him to get off the computer. So we would just play for hours and hours.
Oh, my God.
And you'd see people like looking at their watch going, oh, we're not going to get home today.
Holy shit. That's amazing.
So much fun.
Oh, my God. He's a great guy.
He's super guy. I love him.
Oh, what a wonderful fella.
And now you're both on CBS game shows.
How weird is that? The improv stuff is game show stuff now.
Yeah.
When you found out that you got this show, when you found out you were going to be doing this show with Wayne, when did you find out? How did you find out? Walk us through the process of this happening.
Because it had gone away.
Yeah, it went away.
They brought it back with Wayne.
But they brought it back a couple other times. They did one with who's the guy that got caught with Trump saying grab him by the thing?
Oh,
Billy Bush.
Billy Bush. Yeah.
Billy Bush tried one that was an adult, like kind of dirty version, and no one liked it. And they wanted to bring it back again, and Wayne had done a couple game shows. Don't forget the lyrics and things like that. Said he'd be a good host, so they brought him on, and they said, who do you want to be the announcer? He's like, well, my pal Jonathan. I had announced nothing in my life. I don't even. But I was like, yes, of course. And gradually, Wayne and the producers turned it into more of a variety type show.
Yeah, like when it started back up, it was very different than it is now.
Yeah.
Because now it's an improv show that has a game show in it.
We do everything we can
to not play
push the game show out.
Exactly. You're watching an improv show. It is great.
You guys are doing live song improvs.
Oh, yeah.
You guys are doing scene improvs.
An Emmy.
Yeah.
He and the keyboard player. This is funny. Normally, I sing along with the songs, and this one time,
the one time you didn't.
I didn't. Like, sometimes I'll just sing back. I'm like, yeah. If I had gone, yeah,
You'd
I would have an Emmy in my hands.
Oh my no way.
Yes.
What song? What was the song?
Some woman came down from the audience, and Wayne's like, hey, girl. And then Kat's like, boom, starts playing. He's like, woo. And they sang this really funny song, which I normally sing along with. Yeah. Not this time. Nope.
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe even holding him back this whole time.
I know. I know.
Yeah. But the show, because I'm a big game show nerd, as all of you know, and I watched the original with Monty Hall back in the day, like in the 80s. I used to watch that version.
This guy.
I watch reruns of the 70s version they used to show on the Game Show Network for a while. I would watch those all the time. And like the show, it's a different show that is fantastic. Like what you've done with that show is outstanding, because you took a show, if you just did the old original show, it would be okay, but it wouldn't be as good as it is now.
Well, I take a little credit. Producers get a little credit. Wayne gets the majority of that for making it fit.
It's fantastic.
By the way,
and that show's produced by the same guy who does Price is Right, and he hosts that show on Game Show Network where the people fight with each other.
You know too much.
Jonathan, you have no idea how much knowledge this guy has about game shows specifically.
Like, we could just splice you in just saying the word yeah. You don't need to be here.
I'll just ask questions.
It's so crazy the amount of stuff that he knows about game shows. We could almost ask him almost anything, and he would have an answer for it. When it comes to that kind of stuff.
About Mike Richards is who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Really smart guy, talented host. He went and auditioned for The Price is Right when they were looking for the new host. And he was up against, some heavy hitters and stuff, but he studied it so hard, and like he knew more than you. He knew every single damn thing about it. And he had produced stuff, too, in the past. So when he auditioned and was so good at the audition and knew so much about it, that's when CBS Daytime said, you didn't get the part. You want to be the executive producer? I mean, that's
amazing.
That's a shortened version of a much longer story.
But that's amazing.
Essentially, he was so good, he's the boss.
That's crazy.
Wow.
And by the way, on The Price is Right, the only time where Bob Barker is missing is when Drew Carey tries to putt. Because he can't play golf at all. He misses every single time. Bob used to be one-handed, blindfold, behind the back, sinks it every single time on the hole-in-one game.
Oh, yeah.
Drew Carey, I've never seen him make it.
Yep.
Matt, do you want me to ask you some quick questions? You see if you can answer some
Fine.
of them.
Game show trivia. Let's
All right.
go.
Oh, I'm just gonna. We'll just
We're
try
gonna
it
have our
real
own
quick.
game.
Here we go. There was a game show called I've Got a Secret, 1964 to 1967. Who hosted that show?
I've Got a Secret. Was that Gary Moore? No.
It's
Gary Moore did.
Who is it?
I don't know. I just know that's wrong.
It's just the anniversary. I can
That's
picture
a
him in my
great
mind because he's the guy who died because he was smoking all the time, and it's the anniversary of his death.
Robert Morty Jr.
No, it's
There is a theater named after him that is being torn down.
Yeah, I've Got a Secret. Is I can picture him right now in my because that
Johnny
panel,
AMC.
because the panel on that show.
Sometimes he hosted the Tonight Show as well.
You're going way back early.
Yeah.
Then you're saying Jack Parr?
No.
This game
We're gonna
sucks.
cut. We're gonna cut
Who
this
is it?
out.
Who
It
are you
was
saying?
Steve Allen.
Steve Allen. Okay.
Your demographic
Okay,
just
well,
went from
listen.
65 to 90.
Steve
to 90
Allen
years old.
Was a panelist on the version of the show that I used to watch, which wasn't Gary Moore because Gary Moore hosted not What's My Line, but the other one, To Tell the Truth, I think.
Oh man.
This is only for 90-year-old podcast listeners now at this point.
We're gonna
all three of them that are
We're
left.
gonna let that one go. There is a movie I'd like to talk about.
But wait, we got to talk about this show for a minute before we do this.
What show?
On your show.
Oh, for God's! All right.
On Let's Make a
I'm
Deal.
so sorry, John.
Okay,
No,
I-
I am happy to answer questions.
There's a famous thing in statistics called the Monty Hall problem.
I know it.
Which on the original show, at the end of the show, they have 3 doors. You pick door 1, door 2, door 3. Behind one of them is a big prize. Behind one is a middle prize. Behind one of them is a small prize, right?
Yeah.
So you pick one of the 3 doors. Let's say you pick door 1. They reveal either 2 or 3, which is not the big prize, right? And then he would always offer, would you like to switch doors, right? That was always the big thing. That's the Monty Hall problem.
Oh, I've heard this
and
problem.
then
Like,
they
how do
say,
you
like,
choose?
if you switch doors, you have a higher probability of getting the big prize than if you stick with your original door. And if you do the math, it works out. But you no longer do the Monty Hall problem on Let's Make a Deal.
We don't.
And is that because they figured out that finally everybody knew you should switch because you have better odds and you're just like, oh, we don't want to give up the extra prizes?
I don't think that's why. I think they just were looking for a way to make it, quicker, different. And then nobody likes math.
Yeah. Just me. I'm the one, when I watch Deal or No Deal, I used to have a spreadsheet and I would punch in the things and I'd try to guess what the banker was going to offer.
Oh my!
I came up with like formulas for it. Yeah, it was a whole thing.
Fascinating.
Wow.
Matt, have you ever been on a game show?
I auditioned for Win Ben Stein's Money when I was 18, right? And they have you first take a test on the phone. I passed the phone test. They have you go into a room, you take a written test, and I passed that. They narrowed it down there were like 100 people, and they narrowed it down to like 8 of us. And then they had us fake play the game. And I don't know if you remember watching Win Ben Stein's Money, but they had joke category names on that show.
Yeah.
Right? So they'd bring those up. But the joke category names were never funny to me. So I stood there and I didn't laugh at their joke category names. Everybody else in the room laughed at those category names. I saw all 7 other people on the show. They didn't take me.
That's why you didn't get on. Not
That's why I didn't
because
get on.
you're scary. Just
Because you're scary.
We'll be right back.
That is
That's so
funny. That is so funny. Oh my God.
But that's my one brush with trying to get on a game show. Was that?
Well, you deserve to be on a game show. Someone should put you on. You should be a guest.
My dream job is to host a game show someday. That's my dream job.
Oh God. Well, you'll terrify everyone with your knowledge. You'll just correct everyone's spelling and
That would be it.
grammar
Just
the whole
correct
way
them
through
all,
it.
Yeah.
What was there a game show when you were growing up? Was there any game shows, Jonathan, that you were a fan of?
I like some. I didn't. I wasn't a huge game show fan growing up, but I was mentioning earlier. I like Tic Tac Toe because the that electric looking dragon would come out.
Oh yeah,
and that just it scared me and horrified me and titillated me at the same time. So
you know what show I loved so much? It's not a game show really, as much as it was a competition type show, but American Gladiators. Remember American Gladiators? Holy fuck, that show was so cool. It was so cool, and I always wanted to like go and run around and get shot by some guy named Blade or whatever. Like it just seemed like a very exciting.
Get Nitro to shoot you with ping pong balls.
I wanted
from a
Nitro
rocket.
to shoot me with ping pong balls. I wanted to get shot with like a grenade launcher and have to swing.
Do you want to play Powerball against Zap?
Oh, totally. We're missing that because like there was that show Wipeout
Was so great.
Good.
my god, that fucking
watch
show
Wipeout?
was great.
yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
My friends did a show. It didn't go anywhere, but I liked the idea of it. It took a very, very tall, high building, and there's a conveyor belt at the top, and you're answering questions as the prizes are
Oh, yeah,
on
I
the
saw
conveyor.
that.
Yeah.
That lasted like one season on Fox. That was fun.
Because people were all bummed out. It's like, you just
You
ruined
broke
a
a
$3,000 TV.
There was a,
But I like it. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
there was a game
sure.
show that was getting developed at Nickelodeon that I don't think ever made it off the ground. But it was a show where the contestants are all kids, and they're put into what's it called? Like into like a space, like a fake little spaceship, and they're shot off to another planet, like fake planet, right?
Oh,
and
fake
then
planet. Okay.
They get out. They Then the door opens out of the ship, and then they have to do basically American Gladiators or Double Dare, but it all takes place on like another planet. There are giant creature monsters. They have to do fight things, and it looked so cool. It was like the show that I was like, I kept going like, I would do anything to.
I'll bet you
auditioning for the creature?
What killed it was they probably were in front of a green screen, and the audience was just like, "This is boring."
Yeah.
That's probably what killed it.
Most likely, yeah. That seems like
Because
that
you're just moving nowhere.
Yeah, because one of the cool things about your show is that everything is happening.
right there.
It's
all
happening
real.
right there. The music is live.
The
videos, everything that's happening, the lighting, everything is happening while it's happening right there.
Yep.
What's the like? How many people are working on that show? It's a lot of. There must
There's
be
a
lot
couple
of people.
hundred. There's about 200. There's a
that-
whole area backstage where everyone's like, because you have to fit all these prizes and all these props in this soundstage, and there's like little not elevators but forklifts, and they're all back there like pull that out, put this in, put this out. It's a
What's your favorite zonk?
my favorite zonk. You know, I'm trying to think. There's been a lot of them. We used to have animals in the show, and then no more.
It's too hard to do.
Yeah, it's just a pain in the butt. You know, philosophically, there's different opinions on the zonk. Like Monty Hall always thought the zonk should be funny, and then sometimes I and Wayne think, you know, the zonk is the end of the game. It's a disappointment. It's it's done. So it's weird to try to riff funny after a. So the one thing they do really well is there's a couple of them that are animated.
Yeah, they
they'll
make
have.
like cars and stuff, and Wayne will just jump in and start driving it around.
Yeah,
and
if there's a physical activity to it, or like, you know, the pirate ship or the little animated videos, that can be fun. But it's tough to say you lost and then be funny. It's you can be entertaining. You can say, here I am dancing around, or here's this crazy thing. But they used to want it to be funny,
right?
And that's just you can't be funny after someone's failure, a loss of money.
What about like I don't know if you're allowed to talk about this, but like fails. Have there been any big fails that have happened on the show? Have you watched anything? Anyone lose something badly? Do you ever have contestants that can't handle it, or they?
No. The only thing that will happen sometimes is if people get very nervous on television.
Yeah.
And you know, you walk up to them on the street and say, "Hey, here's a new car," and they will jump up and down and scream. But the TV camera sometimes can scare the crap out of them. So they win a car, but they're frozen, right? They just can't. So sometimes we'll go, "Hey, let's try that again. We're going to tell you again, and just act, excited." But that's the only time there's something that we might do a little pickup on. Just so that we get a real
and
reaction.
I know a bunch of people that won cars on your show too.
Yeah.
Like a bunch of people went to exit. Like there's a girl I know who at one time had the car pong record because it was the first ball, just went right in, and it was like, get a car right away. There you go. So,
Wow, that's amazing. What is something in this business that you haven't gotten to do yet that you would like to accomplish? And I know saying that is kind of a lofty thing to say, because so much of career just happens, not to say it happens magically.
Yep.
It happens with a lot of hard work and a lot of determination. But also, like, you couldn't, if 20 years ago, I couldn't be like, what do you want to do? And then you'd be like, I'm gonna be the announcer on a game show and win a bunch of awards doing it. But what's something that you are passionate about that you haven't gotten to do?
Well, the great thing about Let's Make a Deal is we shoot 4 months out of the year, so I have 8 months. If I was smart, I'd just be relaxing and learning to golf and going to beaches. But no, I'm writing and I'm developing. I'm pitching. There's a movie I'm taking out now. There's a unscripted show I'm taking out now. It'd be nice to sell something that makes it onto TV or is made into a movie. I'm sure as soon as it happens, I'll be like, this is hard. I want to be an actor again. I don't want to stay until 3 a.m. to break a story.
Yeah. No, I'm sure.
But I'd like to put that on my notch. That I sold something that went on to be made.
I have no doubt that you'll do that.
Oh, thanks, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, especially because having heard this timeline of your career, like I don't know if shapeshift is the right word, but you've been able to do whatever the job entailed, whether it was improv or drama or singing. Like, you have the ability to just like adapt very naturally.
That's the yes and of the improv talking.
Jonathan, let me ask you a question, because Matt and I were having a debate about this recently. Have you ever been an auctioneer for a charity event? Have you ever done an auctioneer? Have you ever done that?
I've never been an auctioneer, but I have been the guy that when you say auctioneer, it's like the 75. I've never done that stuff.
Not that.
But I have been the guy fundraising for the school. And
right, so you're pointing at the item.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, we got this thing.
Yes.
And maybe you got some people out there that are actually handling the technical side of it.
Yeah.
Like the technical side of the auction.
Yeah.
But you're doing the real.
I'm doing the please give us money for this, and it was when my kid was in kindergarten, and the school goes, hey, you're a comedian, will you host this? And I've never hosted a fundraiser auction-y kind of thing before for the school. I go, yeah, sure. Man, it's the worst. I love the school, but that is the worst gig I've ever had. Because nobody wants to laugh when you are asking for money. Nobody. There was one. I'd be like, there was a bike I was trying to sell. I was like, here's a bike, and it's we're going to start off with $300, please, $300. It's a great deal, $300, and then no, and I throw a couple jokes in, still nothing. People are like looking down, eating their meatloaf, and they hear the clinks. I'm like, please, folks, this is for your kids. Come on, oh God. And it just went on and on and on. And then finally one guy raised his hand. I go, oh, thank you, $300. And the head of school ran out to me and says, no, this bike is worth at least $600. You get $600. And I go, oh, I've just been told that the bike is worth more than, can we please get it? So it went on for another 5 minutes, and then finally,
Jesus.
Gary Oldman, whose kid happened to go, was sitting in the front row just looking at me, and he just raised his hand to put me out of my misery.
Give you $600.
Gary Oldman bought the bike.
Oh my God.
For $600. And I was like, thank you.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
To be saved by Gary Oldman.
Yeah. If I had to do it again, I would do it without the pressure of having to be funny. If I could just talk and not work. But in my mind, I was like, these people have never seen me perform. This is my chance. All these new parents, all these new friends, they're going to see what I'm all about. No, they're not. No, they're going to watch you fail.
Fail miserably.
There's nothing worse than a silence, and then you hear that like dusty cough from the back of the room.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've all had gigs like that. Yeah.
Last year for our every year we do a charity event for Children's Hospital. This year we're doing it December 15th at the Improv.
Yeah.
And last year we had John
Machida,
the fast talker from Micro Machines, the Micro Machines fast talker.
Yes.
And he did it and helped us raise. Because we're in the Improv, which is people who are not there to spend money, they're there to have a good time and have a couple drinks. We were able to raise almost $10,000.
Mike Glazer here spent $500 on a pancake making robot.
Yeah.
Wow.
in that auction.
So
Yeah.
worth it. So worth it.
It was so cool. It was very, very cool. It was a very cool.
Do you
cool
still have the robot?
Oh, yeah.
Does it still make pancakes?
Yeah, 3D pancakes, any shape, any size.
It's like a
whatever you
3D
want.
printer for pancakes, and you put in a design, and it makes.
How often do you make pancakes with it?
Probably once a month. I got a KitchenAid mixer, and it made it a lot easier.
So you're actually using.
Oh,
wow.
yeah.
that's
Making
a-
T-Rexes and Garfield faces. That's great.
I'm trying to get a company right now to donate a laser cutter that can laser cut into the top of your like apple pies. They run ads on Instagram, so you like have a pie or like something, and it'll draw
design?
like a design into the top of your food.
$500.
Right?
Glazer is going to buy it.
So cool,
Wow.
so cool. But so last year we had John Machida, and this year I've been trying to figure it out because the one thing with John Machida, although he is amazing, that is a hard gig.
Yeah.
Like getting a room full of people to like bid and throw their money out and try to get stuff.
Also,
is hard.
I mean, when there's such a tragedy like kids with cancer, and you really want to help them, and that's different because it is a real thing, and they desperately need to stay alive, and your money helps them. This was a school event. This is like raise money so we can get a new badminton net.
right, exactly.
So the stakes are so low.
Yeah.
It's not like
yeah.
that time when you ran a charity event for the Leukemia Society and you booked Tony Clifton for it.
Oh, don't! Why are you bringing that up?
This is a great story.
Oh, this is a rough story. Okay, so oh man, this is gonna make me sound like
One
the
of your worst decisions.
person.
No, you're not a bad person. You just made a bad decision.
Yeah, but
You're that person that makes bad decisions.
Yeah. They said to me I have you son of a
Just
bitch.
take the ownership, buddy.
All right, here's what happened. This
What
is
did you
This
do?
is the real story, and I've made up for it over the years. All right,
we'll be the judge of that.
I recently hosted the Leukemia Lymphoma Man of the Year event for those guys, and it was a very nice event. They raised a lot of money. But a couple of years ago, we'll say like 5 years ago, there was a guy over at the Leukemia Lymphoma Society who was not a nice guy, and he asked me to put on a comedy benefit for Leukemia Lymphoma Society.
Okay.
And I said, yeah, sure, I'll put it on. And then he was like, well, let's get together. It was going to be at the Comedy Store. And so then he goes, let's get together and let's talk and stuff. And so we get to the Comedy Store, and I had booked for that lineup Whitney Cummings, Chris D'Elia, and a bunch of other really famous, wonderful, Mark Maron, I think, a bunch of other wonderful comedians were on this lineup. Jeff Garlin, I think, I don't know. Anyways, I booked a wonderful bunch of people. I get down there to go meet him, and this is like about a week beforehand. And he goes, oh, look at you fat bastard! I can't believe you can fit through the door. Look at you, my God! My girlfriend comes in behind me, and he goes, "Who's this? Is this your nurse?" I go, "No, this is my girlfriend. I don't know this guy at all." And he goes, yeah. Well, my God, having sex with him must be like having a planet crush you every time you have sex.
Guy wants to be a comic.
That's a good Norm Macdonald, by the way. I don't
oh.
know if you mean to do that. But,
Yeah, right. And he's just roasting me, and I don't know him, and he's not a comedian. He's just a guy who works in an office.
Oh, he thinks he's funny.
And he just keeps hitting me with this, and I'm getting frustrated. And then he finally says, anyways, I don't know a lot about comedy, I guess, but there's a chance. Trying to find someone else to close the show. We have a choice between two comedians. Some guy named Ahmed, which sounds racist, or a guy named Tony Clifton. I don't know, something like that. And I go, yeah, Tony Clifton. That's who should close the show.
oh.
I said it out of spite in the moment.
Now, if listeners don't know who Tony Clifton is, when Andy Kaufman was alive, he did a character called Tony Clifton.
Yeah.
And it's been kept on going by Bob Zamuda, who used to work with him back in the day.
It was very popular in the Man on the Moon.
Yeah, and it's like he's like a fat, racist lounge singer.
And it's been kept going by Andy Kaufman, too, because he faked his death, right?
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, long story short, I get a call from Bob Zamuda, and he goes, hey, Steven, hey, so you're going to work with Tony for this event? I'm like, yeah. He goes, all right, why don't you meet Tony? Tony down at Chick-fil-A or whatever.
Right.
And I go, okay. He goes, Tony will be down there waiting for you to pick him up. And so I pull up, and there is, in all his glory, Tony Clifton standing in front of Chick-fil-A, full costume, mustache, glasses, hair, the jowls, the whole bit.
It's like a powder blue tuxedo.
Yep.
And the whole
He's
thing.
like,
Yeah.
ready to go. Let's get the hell on this car. What do you call this car? You call this a car, you fat fuck? He like gets in the car with me, and I'm like, I can't believe I'm in the car with you. I drive him to the Comedy Store, and we then proceed to like go through his whole act of like what he's gonna do. And I was like, oh, it's a charity event, so just kind of keep it nice and clean, and not totally clean, but just keep it easy. And he was like, no, I'm gonna give him a real show, So then the show starts, and he just. One of the first things he said something really upsetting, and a woman in the audience goes, that is offensive, and he goes, oh, we got lesbians here, go suck a rug, suck a rug.
Oh no!
Just one after another, and then this guy was like, I just gave $500 to this charity. How dare you? And he was like, this guy's trying to talk to me with dicks in his mouth. My God in heaven! And he's just, he's so awful, and people are getting upset.
Oh.
And then at the end of all of it, he goes, well, this is a night to celebrate. It's a night to feel good. And so I'm going to end by singing a song. And this is a song that was made popular recently by a woman that I had a little sexual situation with. I was over at a bar, and I ran into this big fat pile of garbage named Susan Boyle. You guys remember this? This whale of a woman. So I made love to her, and then we sang this song together. Here we go. A 5, 6, 7, 8. I dreamed the dream. Time gone. And he sings, I dreamed a dream, while the audience walks out and asks for their donations back.
Oh, my God.
But it was too late. God. So that was the last time I've booked a comedy benefit for a show for the Leukemia Lymphoma Society. But then I've worked for them since and made up. And that guy's left. He doesn't work there anymore. So
Oh, wow.
It all worked out.
he may have gotten fired. He may have gotten fired because of that benefit.
He had a choice. He selected Tony Clifton.
Oh,
He
yeah.
took some bad advice.
He could have researched it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we were on a TV show and it was called We'll Be the Judge of That, has Steven made up for that terrible time, or is he still not going well?
I think I got to get. You've made up for it.
Oh,
now.
thank you.
But
Thank you,
only
Jonathan.
as of this moment.
As of right
You've been living in a
God.
negative, and just now you've made up for it.
What's the best part of that is that I told that story about a man on the moon. I told the story about Tony Clifton, this whole incident. I told that to Larry Karaszewski, who wrote Man on the Moon.
Oh. Okay.
And he was sitting next to me at a theater show in Vegas, and I didn't know that that's who he was. So I was doing an impression of Tony to the guy that
who made a
wrote
movie
the
about- yeah.
movie.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And he thought it was good. So
That's funny.
He was like, I wrote that movie. I was like, oh, good. It's turned bright red, and then shit myself. Jonathan, how can people find you in the world if they want to, follow you and come see you live?
I'm in
and
the
do
white
things?
pages.
There we go. That's
Awesome.
the way to do it.
My Twitter is @Mangum1. My Instagram is @JMangum1. Facebook, I'm @TheMangum. You'd think they'd all be the same. That would make sense. No.
Yeah.
So that's JonathanMangum.com.
And what's the movie you're in? Coming
Oh,
up?
there's a movie coming out on December 4th called I'll Be Next Door for Christmas. If you have teens or tweens, it's a real sweet, heartwarming movie, a Christmas movie coming out. That'll be on iTunes and Netflix. A little animated character I do called Cooters News, and you can see that on Facebook @Cooters News or on Instagram.
What's that
@Cooters
about?
News. It's just a little redneck character that I created. I'm from the South, and so he just does 30-second bits, like kind of telling what's up in the news or
I
things
love
that,
it.
that interest him.
I love
Sounds
that.
so fun. I would say, can we do one? But go to the Facebook maybe. Huh?
Yeah,
Are you
go to
going to
Facebook.
be on this coming season of Glow? Or were you in
So
last
I was
season?
in the end of season 2.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
I love that show.
Yeah, it's a great
That's
show.
Amazing.
It's a great show. It was so weird auditioning for that. It was for a priest character, and being in L.A., I looked at some of these guys, and you know that at least half of them are priests with their SAG card. You know, what I'm saying?
Right? Yeah.
So I'm not sure how. Maybe they accidentally put my headshot in the S-Pile, but it was a fun gig. It was super fun.
You married them on stage.
Married them, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Brittany Young was on our show.
Yeah, I heard
and
that one,
We,
actually,
we
yeah.
and you know, Marin was on the first nighttime show thing we ever did, like
wow.
a billion years ago. Before
fan
it was
of his.
even
Pre-podcast.
pre-podcast. Yeah.
I had a scene with him, but it was cut. I had a little bit with him, but he's
so
great.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, everybody's got to check out I'll Be Next Door for Christmas, which is on Netflix, right?
It'll be on Netflix and iTunes on December 4th.
Fantastic. Mike Glazer, where can people find you? What should they be looking for?
My Instagram, my Twitter, everything is at Glazer Boo Hoo Hoo, Glazer Boo Hoo Hoo, like I'm sad because I'm a comic. And if you, you can find a bunch of stuff there, but I think more importantly, I just want to plug one more time. If you go to any of my social media, my link is for the Second City Chicago's 24-hour improv Letters to Santa. If you're looking for something to donate, if Chicago's your hometown, go to my Instagram or Twitter and then click on the link that says secondcity.com and throw a little cash to some Chicago families.
That's very sweet. I love that. What about you, Matt Waka?
I have nothing sweet to plug, but I would like to point out that I looked it up, and Gary Moore was the original host of
Did
I've
I-
Got a Secret.
Steve Allen. I was wrong?
Steve Allen took over after he left the show.
Oh, my dear God.
You can find me at funnymatt.com. I got links to everything there. And if you were annoyed by me, please let me know at mattwalkersucks.com.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry I called you creepy.
It's okay.
it's fine.
Just submit it to the website.
You can always go to www.thenighttimeshow.com, which has all of our episodes and links to our merch page, which is gorgeous, beautiful,
If you
lovely
want
stuff.
Stephen Glickman riding a pug shower curtain, we got you covered.
We got everything. In
Do you have
there.
any rugs? Like
We do.
Yeah.
We have floor rugs. We've got all sorts of stuff. Giant
Banners.
banners. We've got shirts and all sorts of cool things. That's a great. I mean, mugs. They've got everything over there.
Anything you want.
Yeah. So check that out at thenighttimeshow.com. If you live in Los Angeles or are on the West Coast somewhere, come over and check out the Nighttime Show at the Hollywood Improv December 15th, which will be an incredible show with lots of wonderful and talented people.
You've got Jimmy O Yang.
Jimmy O Yang
and Nolan Gould so
and a
far?
couple other cast members from Crazy Rich Asians will be here with Jimmy O Yang, as well as Nolan Gould from Modern Family and some other wonderful folks of his. So it should be a very fun, very lovely night, and lots of things coming up with that. Also, I want to give a little shout out to our iTunes. If you get a chance to go, please subscribe to the Nighttime Show podcast and leave comments and things and let us know who you would love to see on the show. You can always get me at Stephen Glickman, STPHEN Glickman on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Jonathan, it has been an honor and a pleasure.
Thank you.
I'm so happy
Yes.
we finally made this happen, especially at a place I can get egg rolls at.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's been
Yeah.
fun.
You bet.